they'd crossed, with the aforementioned World War I-era tank resting on a concrete slab near the street. Personal vehicles and stacks of empty pallets cluttered the building's rear. The facility didn't appear to have undergone any substantial renovations since its original construction in 1930, except for the ambient electronic surveillance Deacon and Kaylee had evaded, and a modern-day internal alarm system. The infomancer had broken into the building's systems a week before in preparation for the run. He would now intercept any signals that tried to leave the building through its regular communication channels. She crouched and waited for the rest of the team to reach the roof, which they did shortly after. The next order of business was to hold position briefly to determine if their actions generated a response. Rath offered a subject to fill that time.
"I think we should get some tomato pie before we go."
Diana groaned inwardly, knowing that the troll had thrown the comment out as argument bait. Cara snapped, "Cold pizza without cheese is an abomination. No one should eat it. Ever." Hank didn't hide the mischief in his voice.
"Well, you can heat it up. It's pretty tasty that way."
Her second-in-command growled, "No, it isn't, and you're a moron for suggesting it. An abomination, I say."
"You're missing out."
"You're welcome to enjoy every bite of tomato pie that exists, or has ever existed, since your taste buds are clearly defective. In fact, you'd be doing the rest of us a favor." Kaylee interrupted. "No sign of a response. You're good to go." They'd used blueprints of the place to plan their assault, and the hatch that opened onto the staircase leading into the building was right where it was supposed to be. Defeating the lock was no problem for Diana's electronic pick, and they descended into the upper section of the 3-story structure. A small lift in the corner connected it to the other 2 levels of the armory. This level was home to abundant supplies, some of them downright ancient. Cara had joked that National Guard armories were where surplus army stuff went to die, and by the looks of the dusty, stenciled crates scattered and stacked around, it was true. Couldn't be lucky enough that they'd store what we need up here, of course. They'll be somewhere down below, under higher security. The staircase leading down was again exactly where it was supposed to be, and they crept to the 2nd floor, which was more or less the center of day-to-day operations for the facility. Offices lined the perimeter on half of the level, the rest of that section filled with battered metal desks sitting out in the open, places for the guardsmen to do the work of running the unit. The other half contained the building's barracks, with sleeping facilities for several dozen soldiers in a bunk bed-style arrangement. They'd seen it all through the base's cameras before arriving, thanks to Deacon's hack. Even though it was 3 a.m, lights were visible from under the closed doors of 2 offices. They knew the barracks area held 10 individuals, and that another 4 were on patrol around the building's perimeter. Entry through the roof was a blind spot in the guards' defensive arrangements, one they would doubtless fix after the night's action. Diana ordered, "Croft, with me. We'll handle the offices. Khan and Stark watch the stairs. Hercules, take out the ones in bed." The big man replied,
"Seems almost unfair, hitting them while they're sleeping."
"At least they'll live to learn a lesson." Her team was primarily equipped for non-lethal action, carrying grenade launchers and far gentler munition options than they usually did. Each had at least one sidearm filled with anti-magic bullets, of course, in case things got messy. She had no desire to kill guardsmen who were only doing their job. Her team crept into position in less than half a minute. She ordered, "Now." Diana turned the doorknob, stepped into the office, and blasted the shocked-looking man working at a computer with a cascade of lightning. The magical attack jangled his senses, causing him to shudder and shake in his seat for several seconds before he toppled over backward with a clatter, unconscious. She reported, "Clear," a moment before Cara said the same. A much louder sizzle sounded from the other side of the floor, followed by a second. Then Hank confirmed,
"Clear. One of them woke up and scampered away from my first grenade, but the next one got him."
Diana replied, "You're losing your touch. The Hercules I know would have had them on the first shot." Rath laughed.
"Rusty. Must train."